This is not the topic that I thought we would be talking about here today, but we gotta talk about Tocchet in the same way that we have been talking about him all year, as the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks. I get it, he is no longer there. He is the coach of the Philadelphia Flyers now. But what I wanted to do was refer to a recent interview that was done by Tocchet on the Millard and Shannon Hockey podcast. This was 100% hockey, and look, it's a show on NHL.com. The recent episode talks about Rick Tocchet and his coaching journey from Vancouver to Philadelphia. Link is going to be in the description if you want to dive into that and listen to 100% Hockey with Millard and Shannon. But I'll also leave a link in the description to this article posted on yahoosports.com. Former Vancouver Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet discusses what went wrong in 2024-2025. Izzy Chung published this article yesterday, and what I like about it is it transcribes a good chunk of the beefy, juicy, meaty comments that Tocchet has to go over in regards to what actually went wrong with the Vancouver Canucks in 24-25, and in particular, he speaks out about the biggest conflict that had plagued the team, the fans, and the organization: the Miller-Pettersson feud. Firstly, Tocchet goes out there and talks about his replacement in Vancouver, Adam Foote. This guy knows the game. Good communicator. Players love playing for him. Now, his decision is going to be either criticized or glorified, but you've got to swing the bat. You can't be afraid to make those decisions. I think he's got that character in him to do that. The article writes that Adam Foote was under Rick Tocchet for a while, but this previous season, things definitely were weird. It was a trying year, Tocchet said. There was a lot of stuff that happened. It was one of the weirdest years that I've ever been involved with, and I've learned a lot over it too. Chung writes that there wasn't much that went right for the Canucks last season, but Tocchet insisted that the team's effort throughout was commendable. I really believe that the guys really tried hard to make everything work. I said it before and I'll say it again, I don't think there's really a bad guy. Are there certain things that we wished we could have realized? Yeah. Not to use injuries as an excuse, but a lot of injuries. Obviously, the Miller-Pettersson thing was a big story. It affected some of our players. I could tell. He then goes out there and says this, that maybe he had spent too much time focusing on that feud rather than some of the other players. I think I made a mistake. I spent too much time on it. There were some guys that needed me a little bit, and I wasn't there as much as I usually am for players. And that is a really interesting comment to make, where Tocchet admits that the Miller-Pettersson thing was so big, it was such a big deal, that he might have put himself in a difficult spot as a head coach by not being as available or not focusing too much attention on the other players on the hockey team. And I don't want to blame Rick Tocchet or anything, I'm just using his words here to form a narrative that maybe there was a little bit of extra catering that needed to be done in the Miller-Pettersson situation that took away attention and meaningful learning time for some of the other players on the team. For Tocchet to say, yeah, like this feud affected a lot of people, I mean, yeah, obviously it will be. We heard lots of reports. Oh yeah, the locker room is divided. There's lots of tension. There aren't those same guys to help mediate that tension. Dollywall's talking all this talk about Chris Tanev and Luke Schenn and Tanner Pearson and how these guys, veteran leaders in the room, if they were still in the room for 24-25, there's no way this Miller-Pettersson feud would have gotten as big as it would have, because they make things a lot smoother. These players, these veteran guys, have that ability to just kind of mediate and use their presence and use their leadership to make sure everybody is focused on attending the right thoughts. It's not just on the ice, it's in the gym, it's in the hotels, it's on the plane, it's while the team is traveling, it's while they're out and about. It just makes things smoother. And for Tanner Pearson, okay, he was a really good friend to JT Miller, but guess what? Pearson's last name is Pearson, so he's right before Pettersson in the locker room stalls. He's a nice guy, he's able to get along with Petey, and he helps Petey get across to Miller a little bit easier. Schenn, big leader. Ian Cole, a big leader type of guy too. Zadorov. These guys all left Vancouver, and all of a sudden, it's up to Quinn Hughes and Rick Tocchet to try and mediate this Petey Miller feud that was going on. And Tocchet going out here and saying that his biggest mistake was that he left some other players hanging a little bit. He didn't give as much attention as he probably should have to other players on the team because he was too focused on attending to this Miller-Pettersson thing. I do understand where he is coming from. I don't want to say, oh yeah, you're a bad coach, he made a mistake, he didn't do this. No, that's not what I'm thinking about here. But I do think that Tocchet somewhat understands just how difficult this whole situation was and how much it affected the hockey team, because the way he speaks about it at the beginning, he's like, oh yeah, it was a really weird year. It's one of the weirdest years I've ever been involved with. I've learned a lot from it too. It's almost like he is acknowledging that this is not the norm. This is absolutely not how a hockey team should function. It's not how the Vancouver Canucks in particular are going to function again. The way he talks about it implies that, yeah, there is a lot more that can happen that is better for the Vancouver Canucks, as long as that Miller-Petey thing is not infecting the rest of the locker room. There's a lot higher of a chance that they're actually good and that Pettersson bounces back and this and that. I mean, it's a 1-hour interview on the show, the podcast, so you could go out there and listen to it yourself, try to dig in and hear everything else that Tocchet says. But I do think that him admitting fault in the Miller-Pettersson situation by discussing his over-attending to that problem is a very interesting comment to go out there and make. The article doesn't really have anything else after that. It just says that, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Vancouver Canucks respond, and afterwards how they're able to move past this and use Adam Foote's guidance to attain a higher level of play than they had the most previous season. It's pretty vanilla, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Rick Tocchet speaking out on his biggest mistake in the Elias Pettersson and JT Miller feud situation? Do you think that he has a point here? Do you think there is more that he could have done to attend to the other players on the team, rather than just focusing on only Miller and Petey to the capacity that he did? Do you think that this would have changed the locker room that much more? Do you think that this is a lot more par for the course? What are your thoughts about this entire response here from Rick Tocchet? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.